Welcome back to MLT 240. In this particular portion of the lecture, we're going to be covering hemoflagellates. Hemo meaning blood. So all these parasites are going to be affecting the blood. So all these parasites are also going to fall in the order of Ketoplastida. So we're going to be covering Trypanosoma and Leishmanias. These are pathogenic and tissue flagellates. So let's just go over some general characteristics of our tissue flagellates. We usually find or they're present in the blood, lymph nodes, or muscles of the patient. There's four morphological forms that these tissue flagellates can be found in. There's first the amastogote form, and they're usually found in this form in intercellular cells like the RE cells, and RE stands for reticuloendothelial, and usually find the reticuloendothelial cells in places like the organs like the spleen, liver, lungs, and the lymph nodes, and these are phagocytic cells. And this is a usual form that is in humans for the parasite. There's the promastogote. That form is usually found in the vector for the parasite. There's the epimastogote, and that's also usually found in the vector. Then finally, there's the trypomastogote form, which is found in the host blood, and this is usually the form that is transferred into the human from the vector. So the transmission is from the insect vector, and it injects the trypomastogote form into the human. The first species that we're going to discuss is Trypanosoma cruzi. This is a parasite that can cause Chagas disease. It can cause things like an enlarged heart, esophagus, or colon. Death can occur if it's untreated. It's primarily found in Central and South America. It can be transmitted by the intermediate host called a kissing bug. It's usually diagnosed in the trypomastogote form. And if you look up here in the upper right hand corner, you can see what a kissing bug looks like. There have been a few cases of Chagas disease in the U.S., but they're usually found in the lower states like Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico. This is the life cycle of Trypanosoma cruzi. You can see where the kissing bug takes a blood meal from the human. So this is where the human first gets infected. And once the human is infected, then it goes on to the amastogote stage inside the human tissue. And then it can mature on up and it gets into the bloodstream of the human. Once it's into the bloodstream, then once another bug, kissing bug, takes a blood meal, then that blood that bug ingests is going to pick up that amastogote stage, and then it's going to finish its other stages of development inside the kissing bug. And when it develops its other stages inside the kissing bug, then the cycle is going to start again when that kissing bug bites another human. So it needs both hosts to complete the life cycle. It needs the human and the kissing bug to complete the life cycle. So for us as lab techs, how are we going to diagnose in the lab Trypanosoma cruzi? The amastogotes can be found in muscle, like heart muscle. It also can be found in the liver tissue, central nervous systems. Also, they can be seen in macrophages. They are going to multiply by binary fission. Also, you can see the trimastogote stages in the blood, and that's what you're looking at here. And they tend to have a C shape, this curved around C shape for the trimastogotes. And you can tell this is a blood sample because you have some red cells here that you can see. Again, the method of infection is the kissing bug bites the humans, and the trimastogote stage invades the human tissue. Now, the next two species of Trypanosoma brucei are both referred to as sleeping sickness, but one is East African sleeping sickness, which is Trypanosoma brucei rhodensis, and then we have West African sleeping sickness, which is Trypanosoma brucei gambiense. So there's three stages of infection that occurs with these sleeping sicknesses. First, there's the trypanosomal canker, and you can see an image of what that looks like over here on the right hand side. This is an image of the canker. Then there's the hemolymphatic stage of symptoms, which include fever, lymphadenopathy, which is swelling of the lymph nodes, and pruritus, which is the feeling or the sensation of wanting to scratch your skin. And the third stage is the meningoencephalitic stage, which is where there's an invasion of the central nervous system that can lead to headaches and abnormal behavior and loss of consciousness and even cause coma. And the transmission of these two species is caused by a tsetse fly, and that's known as the intermediate host for this parasite. And here's an image of the tsetse fly. The Trypanosoma brucei for the sleeping disease is very similar to the life cycle we just looked at for the Chagas bug or the kissing bug, and that the tsetse fly bites the human and it injects the trimastogote stage, and the trimastogote multiplies within the body, but we don't really get involved with muscle tissue here. It usually happens in body fluids and blood and lymph fluids, and the trimastogote enters another tsetse fly when the human is bitten again, and the life cycle of the parasite continues in the tsetse fly, and the human is, or another human is infected when that tsetse fly bites another human. So what does Trypanosoma brucei look like as far as what do they look like in the blood or the host blood? These guys look very similar to T. cruzi, except these more have a squiggly look to them, where the T. cruzi more had a telltale C shape or curve shape. These look more squiggly in shape. And again, you can tell we're looking at a blood sample because these are our red blood cells. Now let's discuss leishmania. If left untreated, this particular parasite can result in the highest rates of mortality. There's some areas of the world that's usually confined, or this parasite is confined to, primarily to Central and South America, Central Africa, and parts of Southern and Central Asia. All species are transmitted by sandflies, so that's the intermediate host, and it's usually diagnosed in the amastogote form or the amastogote stage. And here is an image of our sandfly, and this is an image of what the parasite looks like. There's some different species of leishmania that causes different diseases that we need to be aware of. There's Leishmania tropica, which is a cutaneous leishmania, and it's known as Old World or causes Old World leishmaniasis. There's Leishmania donovani, which is a visceral leishmaniasis. You'll hear it referred to as dum-dum fever. There's a Leishmania berlinensis, which is a mucocutaneous or New World leishmaniasis. There's a Leishmania mexicana, which is a disfiguring form of diffuse cutaneous leishmaniasis, also referred to as just DCL. Here's some images of what a cutaneous leishmaniasis can do to the skin. So this is what the ulcerative or destructive types can do. It can cause these skin lesions, as you see on these patients in these images. For leishmania, as far as lab ID, if we have some of the skin lesions, we can see the parasite in macrophages sometimes, as you can see in this particular image of a skin lesion, you can see the parasite within that skin lesion. For the life cycle, again, the host or intermediate host is the sandfly. So when the sandfly bites the human, it injects the human with the parasite. The parasite then goes on and develops in the human as far as the different stages of life. It first starts out in this pre-mastigote stage and it goes on to become a mastigote, even in our macrophages, which was what we were looking at over here. And once another sandfly takes a blood meal from this same human, again, they can pick up the parasite in that blood, and the parasite can finish out maturing in that sandfly. And once it matures, then it can reinfect another human. This concludes this section of the lecture for MLT 240. If you have any questions or need further clarification, don't hesitate to reach out.